tell you the fight that I'm really looking forward to, because I don't know what's going to happen, is Khamzat versus Strickland. I'm very interested in that fight. Strickland is a fucking nightmare standing up.
For sure.
He's a nightmare.
For sure.
When he did a Fluffy Hernandez, I was like, holy shit, man.
The body shot, the finish, but he made Fluffy fight. You know, he fights at a slower pace. He has his own pace in there, and he kind of forces the other guy to fight. His opponent has to fight this pace with him. I think the best chance is to blitz him, do unorthodox things, because he wants to jab, circle, throw a kick, jab, circle. He keeps a very slow pace. He's not sprinting or trying to blast you out of there. He just chips away, high guard, good shell.
Yeah, very good shell. His defense is extraordinary. Man, that motherfucker doesn't get tired in there.
Right.
And the Fluffy fight was like, I thought Fluffy was going to be a problem. I'm like, Fluffy's really good, man. You think he submitted Adolfo Vieira. He's got all this fucking crazy cardio. He puts a pace on guys, and Strickland made it look like he just did not belong in there.
By the way, Khamzat, what do you think about Khamzat?
He's a great fighter.
Yeah.
He's a good fighter. Yeah.
Who do you think if him and Strickland fight, who do you think wins?
Oh, Khamzat.
I think Sean wins that.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I do. I want him to.
If Hamza literally was taken down with ease and just bullying him, I mean, then it's. But it's hard to picture Sean just getting fucked up. Just we've seen him fight so many times, and no one really ever, even when you have close fights, never getting his ass kicked. So I'm excited for that fight.
I think knocked out though.
Huh?
Did he get knocked out?
Nah.
By prayer?
No, yeah, he did. Fucking left hook to the chin.
Marvov, I know Marvov beat Kyle Bohayo, but when you look at it, Strickland's already beaten Marvov. Yeah, it was a while ago, but a win's a win. And he just put a beat down and a stoppage on Fluffy, right? Marvov beat Kyle Bohayo by decision, and we all know this sport's about what have you done for me lately. There is a backstory between Chimaev and Sean Strickland. They have trained with one another. There's a bit of shit talk. There's going to be bad blood. We know that the lead up to the fight will be goddamn insane, right? Chimaev doesn't hold back. He talks shit, but in a kind of reserved way, but like he truly believes in himself. And Sean Strickland is just going to go on the full offensive. We know that. He's going to be talking some crazy shit. Dana even joked about it on the little show that we did there. He said they're going to need extra security for that fight, during the fight week, leading up to the fight, after the fight, in the fight. It's going to be a mad one, because Sean Strickland doesn't hold back. And you know what? Even if you don't like the shit that he says, you have to appreciate the entertainment value that he brings to the table. And then on top of that, the performances inside the octagon. That one against Fluffy, that was a different Sean.
The UFC middleweight division has another potentially explosive matchup on its hands. And there is one fight that has fans, fighters, coaches, and analysts debating the outcome from every possible angle. Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland. This is the kind of matchup that immediately grabs attention because nobody seems completely certain about how it will unfold. On one side, you have Khamzat Chimaev, one of the most physically imposing and aggressive wrestlers in the division, a fighter who has built his reputation around relentless pressure, powerful takedowns, dominant top control, and the ability to overwhelm opponents before they can establish their own rhythm. On the other side, you have Sean Strickland, one of the most durable, unpredictable, mentally tough, and technically disciplined strikers in the UFC. A fighter who is extremely difficult to intimidate.
And against Chimaev, we've seen him when he has faced adversity, and while he has been able to pass those tests, it still does seem to fatigue him and confuse him when he is in those situations, because he's so used to being the hammer and not the nail. Again, I think that from a matchup standpoint, it's going to be really interesting to see, really, like I said, the first couple of minutes of this fight, to see if Chimaev is able to implement his game plan, because if not, I think it's going to be a really interesting fight, and a fight that Sean Strickland can win, despite the long odds.
Yeah, I mean, there's a possibility Hamza just goes out there, takes him down, and dominates him, right? So we're going to see where he's at. But the other thing with Sean Strickland is he's a pretty big dude. We know Hamza sort of, with cardio-wise, even with DDP towards the end, he was pretty tired. And Sean Strickland's cardio is through the roof, right? Like, he's go, 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 go. And he's going to, if you're standing with him, he's going to take up that octagon. He's going to push you back. He's so tiring to fight against when it comes to everybody in the division, right? It's just hard to fight him. So if it's really going to test Hamzat's cardio, if it's standing for a couple of rounds even, to see where he's at. I feel like it's going to answer a few questions for us if Sean can stop these.
And who has repeatedly shown that he can maintain a brutal pace over 5 rounds. This is exactly why the matchup has created so much debate, because the two fighters bring completely different skill sets into the octagon. Strickland is a nightmare on the feet because of his constant jab, forward pressure, high-volume combinations, awkward defensive movements, and ability to force opponents to fight at his preferred pace. He does not usually rush forward looking for an instant knockout. Instead, he slowly breaks opponents down, constantly touching them with punches, attacking the body, controlling the center of the cage, and forcing them to work every second of every round. His defensive instincts are also underrated, and one of the biggest advantages he possesses is his ability to stay composed under pressure. We saw a different version of Strickland in his recent performances, particularly in the way he attacked with more confidence, sat down on his punches, and showed...
Okay, first title defense against Sean Strickland, has Sean Strickland ever fought a really, really strong wrestler?
I looked through his resume and he has not.
Not really fought a strong wrestler, but he's known for having really good grappling, really good takedown defense, but there's just different fucking levels of grappling, and Khamzat is at the highest level. Like, him and Islam are the two, they're just so dominant in that aspect. Sean Strickland has great cardio. He's gonna show up ready to go. The question is, can Khamzat keep the pace of... He kept the pace against DDP, but he was able to take him down early and literally hold him down the whole time. That is fatiguing. He was able to do that. But what's more fatiguing is taking someone down, they get up. Taking someone down, they get up. You took him off 3-4 times in a round. That's gonna start to wear on Khamzat if Sean can get up. And that's going to be the question mark there. I feel like Khamzat's going to be able to get a hold of him. He's going to be able to take him down. But is he going to be able to do that over and over and over? Is he going to be able to finish him?
That he can generate serious power when he decides to let his hands go. His performance against Nasruddin Imavov, and especially the way he handled his more recent opponent, reminded many analysts that Strickland is not simply a high-volume jab machine. He can also hurt opponents, overwhelm them with pressure, and create stoppages when everything comes together. That is what makes him such a difficult opponent for anyone in the middleweight division. Even fighters with excellent cardio can struggle to keep up with Strickland because he constantly occupies space, pushes them backward, and refuses to give them comfortable moments to reset. But Khamzat Chimaev represents an entirely different kind of challenge. Chimaev is one of the most dangerous grapplers in the UFC, and his ability to close distance, secure takedowns, dominate positions, and control opponents from the top has made him one of the most feared fighters in the division. When Chimaev is able to
down, but is he going to be able to do that over and over and over? Is he going to be able to finish him? I don't know. I think, what would be absolutely epic is if Khamzat took him down first round, second round, beat his ass a little bit, and then Sean Strickland kind of started stuffing the shots in the third, and then started piecing him up in the fourth, and Strickland got it done. It would be fucking sweet. But we just saw Charles versus Max. Charles dominated. It's weird when you think of Charles, you don't think of like super great wrestler. A lot of his takedowns kind of come from body locks and trips from the body lock, which is great wrestling. But Max had never really fought like a super high-level wrestler. And are we gonna see the same kind of thing play out where Khamzat takes him down and it's kind of the same fucking thing? I don't know. Super excited for that fight. Final prediction: don't have one because
pose his wrestling early. He can completely change the structure of a fight. Instead of allowing an opponent to establish a striking rhythm, he forces them to defend takedowns, fight for underhooks, scramble against the cage, and constantly worry about being dragged to the mat. That pressure can become exhausting very quickly. The biggest question surrounding this matchup, however, is whether Chimaev can maintain that level of wrestling pressure against someone like Sean Strickland for multiple rounds. Taking a fighter down once is one thing, but taking him down repeatedly is an entirely different challenge. If Strickland gets back to his feet after every takedown attempt, Chimaev may be forced to spend enormous amounts of energy shooting again and again, controlling the fence, resetting his position, and trying to secure another dominant sequence. That could become...
He looked great. He looked rejuvenated. He came out. He showed that power. He did all the things that we said, if Sean would only do this, and it's all the things that his coaches have been saying, if he would do this like he does in the gym, he's a world beater, and he looked like that. And there's history. He talked all the right shit about Chimaev, and it got him the fight. And I'm also happy to see that Chimaev ready to go, willing to take the fight.
Yep.
Things are in order. The middleweight division moving again, a contender, first a champ at the division. He's not moving up. There's no shenanigans. I was very pleased to see that it's moving that way.
A major factor as the fight progresses. Chimaev's greatest advantage may come in the opening rounds, when his explosiveness, physical strength, and wrestling pressure are at their highest. If he can immediately close the distance, take Strickland down, and keep him pinned to the mat, the fight could quickly become a nightmare for the former champion. Chimaev has the ability to control an opponent for long stretches, land damaging ground and pound, and force them to carry his weight while constantly defending submissions and positional advances. However, Strickland is not the type of fighter who simply accepts being controlled. He is extremely tough, experienced, and persistent, and he has demonstrated a strong ability to survive difficult situations and continue fighting even when...
It's a tough fight for Strickland, I'm not going to lie, but he is tough to take down. He's tough to hold down. He does have a ground game, and he's going to talk some shit. And I've heard there's a bunch of Chechens hunting Sean Strickland down in Las Vegas, and he's got to be careful. And I heard Sean like, hey man, I've got guns. You can come to my house, man. Here's the thing, guys. If they come to my house, I got the guns.
I'm almost certain Strickland's gonna have a gun with him wherever he is in Vegas, and good luck.
Yeah.
And things are not going according to plan. His takedown defense and defensive grappling may be tested more severely than ever against Chimaev because there are different levels of wrestling, and Chimaev operates at an elite level when it comes to offensive grappling. Analysts have pointed out that Strickland has solid defensive wrestling, but he has not consistently faced a fighter who combines elite wrestling with such relentless physical pressure. That is why the first few minutes could be so important. If Chimaev immediately finds success with his takedowns, the entire fight could begin to follow his blueprint. But if Strickland can defend the first wave of attacks, get back to his feet, and force Chimaev to repeatedly wrestle without securing extended control, the momentum could gradually shift. Cardio could become one of the biggest storylines of the fight. Strickland has exceptional...
messed up to Imavov, look at his resume or whatever. And on every one, I responded, hey guys, who was his last loss though? Like, if your last loss is to a guy who's coming off of a performance like that against somebody who we all agreed was one fight away from the title in Fluffy Hernandez, you go out there and finish him like that, jump on the mic. How do you not? Especially for a company starving for an American champion.
He lost to Strickland in 2023, November, January, sorry. So 3 years ago.
I think
he's on a 5-fight win streak. And he beat Izzy. That was sensational. Second round knockout, right hand over the top. Against Borralho, impressive victory, but not as good as Sean going out there and beating the brakes and finishing Fluffy. And then on the microphone as well, the way that he acted, then with the backstory and the beef and the way that, these guys are going to shit talk it up. Sean Strickland's not going to back down. People talk about wanting to see rivalries and real characters. Well, my God, you have got it here, 100%. Yeah. But the big question is, can he stop the takedowns? Can he take the shots from Khamzat? Because he's got knockout power as well. He's not just a wrestler.
In second rounds with takedowns and top control, but Strickland begins to understand the timing of the shots in the third round. If Strickland starts stuffing takedowns, defending the fence, and forcing Chimaev to strike, suddenly the entire dynamic could change. In that situation, Strickland's volume, cardio, durability, and pressure could become major weapons. He could begin walking Chimaev down, attacking the body, using his jab to disrupt his rhythm, and forcing him into extended striking exchanges. The longer Chimaev is forced to fight outside his preferred wrestling-heavy game plan, the more opportunities Strickland could have to take control. At the same time, it would be a mistake to underestimate Chimaev's striking ability. He is not simply a wrestler who relies entirely on takedowns. His power, explosiveness, and ability to close distance make him dangerous in every phase.
I basically agree. I mean, I don't know what the right answer is in this particular equation because somebody's going to get done wrong. And what I mean by that is if they had gone, Danny, with the Imavov fight, okay, did you give it to the guy who done the most work to get the fight? Yes, you did. On the other hand, I think a lot of folks would be saying, well, now what are we going to do with Sean Strickland? And also, are we really going to give up? I mean, there are not that many organic kind of real feuds in modern MMA or modern UFC, this is an example of one. This is a real feud. The guys used to train together. They have real bad blood. I agree with you. I think that that media week is just going to be ignorant.
Luke is of the fight. If Strickland becomes too comfortable standing in front of him, Chimaev can change levels unexpectedly, land powerful punches, and use his striking to create opportunities for his wrestling. That combination is what makes him such a complicated opponent. He can pressure you with punches, force you toward the cage, change levels, and suddenly turn a striking exchange into a wrestling sequence. Strickland, therefore, will have to be extremely disciplined. He cannot afford to become careless or allow Chimaev to dictate where the fight takes place. One of the most important areas will be the center of the octagon. Strickland prefers to pressure opponents.
Let me check.
Yeah, please do, because I'd be curious to know. I would imagine, Danny, that a guy like Chimaev is going to be the favorite, no matter if it's Imavov or if it's Strickland. But the other problem here is that, like, dude, Strickland's takedown defense, not for nothing, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And again, is that enough to beat Chimaev? Let's see, what do the odds say?
From our friends at DraftKings, Chimaev minus 410, Strickland plus 320.
Okay. They don't have it that competitive, but this is the problem. This is the problem. I don't think Imavov is more competitive relative to Strickland against Chimaev. Do you agree?
And make them retreat, but against Chimaev, constantly moving backward could put him closer to the fence, which is exactly where Chimaev wants him. If Strickland is trapped against the cage, Chimaev can use his physical strength, underhooks, body locks, and takedown chains to wear him down. For Strickland, the ideal strategy may be to maintain enough lateral movement to avoid being trapped while still using his jab and pressure to keep Chimaev from freely entering the pocket. Another major factor is the mental warfare between these two fighters. Their history adds an...
But this is one of those odd cases where merit-wise, I mean, there's no arguing that Nasruddin Imavov deserves the opportunity, but the better fight is Strickland. And if, you know, as a customer, as a fan, just putting my journalist role aside, looking at the fight, like if I had to pay, and again, we're not in pay-per-view era anymore, but if I had to pay $50 to watch Strickland versus Hamzat or Hamzat versus Imavov, I'm paying for the Strickland Hamzat fight. I do think the buildup is going to be a lot more interesting, even though it might get a little weird in some territories. But the fight is interesting. I do think Strickland poses the more interesting threats, and this is all around the bigger fight. And in an era where the UFC has been pretty shitty and the product has been very boring and
another layer to an already fascinating matchup. They have trained around the same circles and have previous connections that make this more personal than a typical title fight. Sean Strickland is one of the most outspoken personalities in MMA, and he is almost guaranteed to bring his trademark trash talk in a fight week. Chimaev, on the other hand, has his own intense personality and tremendous self-belief. The build-up could therefore become one of the most entertaining parts of the entire event. Every press conference, interview, face-off, and media appearance could create another viral moment. The rivalry feels organic rather than manufactured, and that is something fans rarely get in modern MMA. There is genuine tension, contrasting personalities, and a legitimate sporting question that needs to be answered inside the octagon. Some analysts believe Chimaev is the clear favorite because of the stylistic matchup. Their argument is that Strickland has never consistently faced a wrestler with Chimaev's combination of physical strength, speed, aggression, and top control. If Chimaev can take him down early and keep him there, Strickland could spend the majority of the fight defending rather than attacking. The constant pressure could drain his energy and limit his ability to use his striking. Others, however, believe Strickland is being underestimated. They point to his durability, cardio, defensive wrestling, experience, and ability to make adjustments during a 5-round fight. Strickland has already shocked the MMA world before by defeating elite opponents who were considered difficult matchups, and his ability to remain calm under pressure makes him extremely dangerous. He does not panic easily, and that could be crucial against someone like Chimaev. Another interesting point raised by analysts is that Strickland may be the more difficult and entertaining matchup compared with other contenders in the division. From a rankings perspective, there may be fighters who have a stronger statistical case for a title opportunity, But MMA is not always decided by rankings alone. Sometimes the biggest fight is the one that creates the most excitement, the strongest storyline, and the most competitive stylistic challenge. In this case, Strickland versus Chimaev checks every box. It has championship implications, elite-level wrestling versus high-level striking, a history between the